Sal Capaccio joins us here as we get ready to dig further into this Bills win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. 26-7, the Bills dominate and set records in the process. Josh Allen, the all-time quarterback with rushing touchdowns now, and the Bills' offense ran for more yards than any team had ever run for in that stadium in Pittsburgh since it is opened. So we'll kick a lot of it around with you as well. Give us a ring, 803-0550, as we welcome in Sal Capaccio, who is back from Pittsburgh. Sal, good morning.
Yeah, it was a really, really great day running the ball for the Bills. I mean, they did an excellent job of that. And that's a pretty interesting stat that I didn't know until after the game either. You're right. The most yards ever allowed by the Pittsburgh Steelers at Acrisure Stadium.
Yeah. You know, Sal, I'm eager to get your feel for it because you've been to Pittsburgh a lot. That's a franchise with a big identity, and the Tomlin thing, him being a great coach but being there forever. I don't know if it's like got James Franklin, Penn State vibes or what the vibe is, but
I think it was the first time they chanted "Fire Tomlin."
Yeah, well, all right, because the whole thing feels like it might really finally be coming to an end there in Pittsburgh. Whether it's Tomlin looking tired, being tired, wanting something else, them wanting something else, because the spinning of the wheels is it's Pittsburgh every year.
Yeah, it's really interesting. First of all, have you guys ever seen the movie All the Right Moves with Tom Cruise, high school football?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is straight out of there when you're in November and going to a game there. And it was misty and wet, and you're on that bus. Like I'm going from the hotel to the stadium, and even come from the airport to the hotel. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, this is just like right out of the movie, because you get that football feel like, okay, well, we're going to play football here, and you're coming to our stadium. It's going to get messy, and there's a mystique there. You know what I mean? Like, It's like, wow, like you understand why they play such tough football in Western PA, and I'm not trying to be romantic about it. I'm just telling you, like, there's a mystique about it, and you're rolling in that stadium. Like, how many times did you see like the Steelers in a late 4 p.m. game against the Ravens, or the Browns? I don't know, maybe the Patriots, whatever, back in the 2000s, early 2000s, and you're like, okay, you're going in there. This is going to be a tough fight. Then you go in there, and it starts off, and the Bills start moving the ball, and things weren't going great for the Bills, and the Steelers, the Bills gave them a couple opportunities, but then Jeremy, you're right. That crowd turned on the Steelers so quickly. There were boos right away. Like the second offensive series maybe for the Steelers, I'm hearing boos. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And it continued throughout the game. They were, they were not happy with the brand of football that they were playing. There were some cheers when Mason Rudolph came out, and then when he threw that pass, that interception, there were a lot of boos, and it went right back to it.
There were some Pittsburgh beat reporters, Sal, that said that it was the first time they ever heard Renegade get booed also.
Oh, so great. I'm so glad you brought it up, Joe. So we were debating on the broadcast if they were going to play it.
Yeah.
Because it was going so poorly, and they always play it right like beginning of the fourth quarter, like right around there. And we were debating on the broadcast, Chris and Eric and I were talking, are they going to play Renegade? Like, no way, right? Because they're down. What's that going to sound like?
Right.
And they didn't play it at first. And then they played it, and there were Steelers fans who were mad.
Yeah.
Like there were Steelers fans who were mad. I walked down the sidelines. Do you remember in 2019 when the Bills took it over, right? Remember that, the iconic image of Matt Barkley, swinging the towel? Bills fans were doing that. Bills fans made that song theirs.
Right.
I'm not kidding you. It was insane. They were hooting and hollering and looking at Steelers fans like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Look at the scoreboard. We're getting hyped right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole atmosphere there right now. Like I have some friends that are from Pittsburgh that I saw for Thanksgiving, and they basically told me like this is like how almost everybody now is feeling down there, which is that the frustration is that it feels like their identity isn't trying to win Super Bowls anymore. It's the graphic they put up on the broadcast. I didn't see the broadcast, but they put up the graphic of most winning seasons since whenever. Like that, right. Like their whole identity now is just get 9-8, and that's a successful year because we only care about the Tomlin streak. And I think a lot of Steeler fans are just sick of it.
Yep, and it is really interesting to hear and see and what's going to happen at the end of the year. Now, honestly, the way the Ravens are playing, these two teams are going to play again, and the Steelers could wind up winning the division.
Two more times.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to play twice, and the Steelers could still win the division, and we'll see, how the reaction is at the end of the year, because there could be a a pretty major seismic shift depending on how the season ends. But that is typically an organization that does not make changes. As you guys know, they've had 3 head coaches ever in their franchise history. But it was definitely a feeling. And during the early part of the game, to get back to the game itself here, like you got that feeling of, oh my God, like the Bills are playing well and they're just giving the Steelers opportunities, and this is Steeler ball. It's Chris said on the broadcast. It's how they play. It's like they wait for you to make a mistake. You know what it reminds me of is the old left wing lock of the Devils, right? It's like, we're just gonna let you. We're gonna play the most boring football or hockey you've ever seen, in football in this case. We're gonna take advantage of one mistake you make, and that's how the Steelers play, and that's what they did in the first half. And then the Bills just decided to run the ball down their throat in the second half, and it was game over.
Sal Capaccio joining us as we chat about the Bills' win over the Steelers. Let's do some of the Skyworks stats of the game, Sal, and we'll get into that run game. Skyworks equipment rental, building America from ground up. So James Cook has a big day on the ground. So does Ray Davis. So does Josh Allen. Like, the Bills were able to do kind of whatever they wanted to do in the run game. I've seen some of the All-22 already, and some of the clips on the Bills running the same play over and over again. And the Steelers are just getting absolutely blown off the ball, giant holes created for the running backs, the cutback for James Cook. Really, whatever they wanted, it was there. And that is with 2 starting very good offensive linemen out of this game.
Yeah, I'll start with the run game itself. First of all, I hope I don't see many complaints because today about the Bills running the same play. How many times do we hear that? When they lose, people are mad because they ran the same play a couple times. Well, again, I go back to what they did in Carolina. If the play's working, you run it, and they couldn't stop it. So you keep running the same play. There's nothing wrong with running the same play. We want it to work, though, and that's what they did. And they went with the same formation, the same play sometimes, different formation, same play. And why not? It's running. I mean, it's working. They ran for close to 5 yards a carry, and that was including just not really carrying as much at the end and just more about clock. 249 yards rushing. You called it. 144 for James Cook. You know, he didn't have this 60 or 70-yard run. His longest run of the day was 31 yards. That just goes to show you how they just leaned on him, and he just kept pounding and, breaking off a chunk here and a chunk there, 10 here, 15 there. Then Ray Davis comes in. He has a great series. He does the same thing, 10 here, 15 there. And, they just really took it to the Steelers. Now, this was a Steelers defense. We talked all week, guys, about this is what happens to them sometimes. They do get leaky against the run, but when they want to shut the run down, they've done it. They did it against Jonathan Taylor. They were missing Derek Harmon. Big loss for them in the middle and really good young defensive tackle. They did get Alex Highsmith back. And the key to the game all week, I was telling you guys and other people that if you want to protect those 2 tackles, you run the ball. That's how you protect the tackles. Don't let TJ Watt or Craig Herbig become a factor. But I thought the Steelers would do a better job of really locking down on that. One area where I think the Bills did a great job in the run game was James Cook getting to the edge. And I asked him after the game, you guys saw it. I said, James, when you took the ball and you cut back to the edge, was that intentional or something you saw? And he just looked at me. I don't think he wanted to say anything like bad about the Steelers corners or their defense. He said, well, you see film and you know what you want to do. That's what he said. Right. And
yep.
I mean, guys, it was intentional. They went after an older secondary and said, we're putting James Cook on the edge and forcing you to make tackles against him, and you're going to be a little slow getting there, and you're not going to tackle him once he's there. And they did a great job. And then you're right about the tackles, guys. I mean, big arrow up, game balls for me, whatever you want to call it, to both Ryan Vandermark and Alec Anderson. And yes, Alec Anderson had 2 very costly false start penalties early, no doubt about it. He gave a great answer about that. Please check it out if you get a chance. I wrote about it. I quoted him and tweeted out his answer. And it's just great insight into, look, this guy hadn't played right tackle since college. He played center, then guard, then tackle. And he's like, man, I got to go silent count. I got TJ Watt across from me. He goes, I see these guys. They are dudes come off the edge. They are just great athletes. And I got to block them. And he's trying. And early on, that got to him. And then he settled in. He did a great job. Ryan Vandermark did a great job. But I want to give a lot of credit to Aaron Cromer and Joe Brady for putting those guys in a type of situation where they didn't have to carry the load. And when they were asked to make plays, they were very prepared, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And TJ Watt had 4 total tackles in this game, none for a loss, no QB sacks, no QB hurries. The Steelers, as a team, 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hurry.
Yeah, not great for them. A lot of things went poorly for them. Offensively, it was a rough day for the Steelers as well. We're going to bring in Joe in Niagara Falls, who's got a comment on the defense. Joe, good morning. You're on with Sal.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling,
Yep.
Joe. Go ahead.
First, I just wanted to talk about how the defense kind of really showed up for us this week. We've had a lot of trouble stopping the run. And I kind of wanted to reach back to what you guys were talking about earlier about starting Shaq Thompson in the middle. I think he's a great fit. He's been doing a really great job. Stats that you guys brought up when he's starting on the defense, he's only giving up around 3 yards per rush. And I think that's important. I think that's something we need right now. But I think the biggest turnaround in the game for us yesterday was evening up the turnover battle, keeping that 2-2. Even if we look back to last year and the years prior, it's something that really set our defenses apart, was this bend, not break mentality, was that we'd let you drive, we'd let you get down into the red zone, but somehow, some way or another, we end up turning the ball over more times than you do. And I think that's what really helped our success last year.
Yeah, let me touch on a couple of things here. Good call, because I'll start backward. I'll start last and go backward. No doubt, the Bills guys, again, multiple turnovers on the road. I mean, it just every single game they're on the road, they give the ball away a couple times, and you can't do that. And that was the only way the Steelers were going to win this game, is you would give them the ball, and they did, or you don't take it away, and they finally did in the second half, and they did. I'm telling you, if James Cook doesn't fumble and give the Steelers the ball, the Bills might have a shutout in this game. That's how good the defense played, and how poor the Steelers offense was. Like, that was the only points they gave them was a short field, and that was it. Otherwise, the Steelers had 187 total yards in this game, 186 total yards, 3.9 yards per play. I mean, the Bills just shut them down. The turning point of the game, no doubt, was on the field, the score by Christian Benford. But I'm here to tell you guys, on the sidelines, the turning point in this game might have been when Josh Allen took the shot when he was sliding. Everything changed after that. When you're on the field and you're in that environment, and you can tell the energy and what's going on and how guys are acting, it was a little, I'm not gonna say lifeless, but they didn't have a lot of energy, and it was that nervous anticipation. Remember, I was just telling you about how you're in Pittsburgh, it's that mystique. You give the ball away, oh man, and things aren't going your way, and you just have this, man, like you're playing well, but you're making these mistakes, these false starts and turnovers. Right before the 2-minute warning, Josh Allen slides, he gets hit by Patrick Queen. I thought there should have been a penalty. There was no penalty called. There was a skirmish on the sidelines. And I am telling you, the game changed after that. I talked to many people in the locker room about it. All of them agreed. That really, what do you want to say, woke them up, energized them. Alec Anderson said, we realized then we got to set our jaws, and it's going to become a Mike Tyson fight. And look, I know we can all say, well, they should have been ready from the beginning. Yeah, I get it. But, when you're a competitor and you're in a violent sport like that, sometimes that's the kind of thing that happens. And that happened in that moment, and I think it just changed everything about this game. And then the last part, the Bills are going to be faced with an uncomfortable situation coming up, and that is deciding if Shaq Thompson needs to be the starting middle linebacker over Terrel Bernard. I agree, because he changes this defense, and he has to change this defense. Terrell's been dealing with the ankle. Now he's dealing with the arm. I don't know if he'll be ready this week. It feels like that would be a stretch. But in the meantime, they're in good hands with Shaq Thompson in the middle.
Do you think it's a tough decision, or is it – let me ask this way. Do you think it's a tough decision, or do you think it's a tough how they reckon it happened? Like, right?
Yeah, that's
right?
probably more it, Joe. Jeremy, that's probably more it. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that from the outside looking in, like, I don't know how Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich feel about this. From the outside looking in, I think there's a recognition that they're a better defense right now with Shaq Thompson in the middle. But Terrel Bernard's your team captain. He's been on this team. He's done a good job. He's made big plays. He's making a lot of money on an extension. Like, that's not a guy you just want to go to and go, hey, you're going to lose your starting job. I don't know how that comes about, and that is very tough. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. And I've always said, the way that this defense is structured, and I think Matt Milano's starting to play some good football, by the way, so I'm not advocating for him taking Matt Milano's spot at all when I say this. I think Terrel Bernard might fit better as a will linebacker going forward. But he's a middle linebacker, and he's your captain. And Dorian Williams and Shaq Thompson and Matt Milano in a base set yesterday were really, really good together.
Yeah. Sal Capaccio joining us here. Sal, let's do eye on the quarterback, because Josh Allen had a very pedestrian day, ran for one, threw for one. They didn't need to throw the ball, and this is one of those games where they very clearly didn't need to. Eye on the quarterback, brought to you by Great Lakes Building Systems. We keep an eye on your business so you don't have to. Our business is protecting your business. Allen looked like, you're mentioning that play over where he gets hit by Queen. it could wake up the offensive line. Do you feel like it woke up Allen?
Oh, 100%. And I'm telling you, if I was in Vegas or if I walked down to the Rivers Casino, I don't even know if you can bet sports in Rivers Casino. Just giving a reference point here to say, I would have bet a lot of money that Josh was running the next play, because the next play was a short yardage play.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. Like I knew, I'm like Joe Brady. Josh was mad. They were mad. Like everything changed, guys, on that play.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I said, oh, he's going to run Josh Allen here, because Allen will be absolutely determined to make sure he gets this first down no matter what. I mean, we're talking about the guy who not only was the Sportsmanship Award nominee, but also the biggest trash talker in the league, right? I mean, we know Josh's personality. We all do. And they were faced with, after that play, it was a 3rd and 2. And I'm like, oh, they're giving it to Josh here. And, of course, he did, and he got the first down. And then they only got a field goal out of it, but it changed everything. Yeah, you're right. It was the demeanor of him. And, he threw the interception early. He didn't flinch, but Josh doesn't. He knows that happens sometimes. I thought he was a tick off a little bit on some of the quick throws. The Bills went quick game because they wanted to protect the tackles. The throw to Davis wasn't great. Good job by the defender, Eccles. The throw to Shakir in the end zone, a little off there. There was another one the one to Knox. I don't know what happened on that near the goal line. So it wasn't the best day, actually throwing the ball for Josh. But I thought otherwise, he settled in on a couple of throws, and he ran the offense. That was the biggest thing. I think Josh did a really good job of making sure they were in good plays and good situations.
Was that the same drive that that the Hayward situation happened with too? I think that might have been earlier.
I think, right? Wait, do you mean the
knee? Hayward claimed that Allen kneed him in the stomach on purpose, made a point to try to hurt him, and then
that's what set him off.
And then talked about it afterward and said, "That's why I did it. I had to do something." So, Allen, I don't know if he gets a Sportsmanship Award for this game, but that's something that Cam Hayward, he flat out said what he was upset about.
Yeah, I didn't know that part of it, Joe, and I don't know what drive specifically you're talking about, but I will say that was part of. In fact, David Edwards mentioned Cam Hayward in the locker room when I was interviewing. If you want to hear that sound, we have it at the website. But when I asked him about, hey, on that play, everything seemed to change, and he said, yeah, and he said, and then on top of that, what Cam Hayward was doing or did, and so all of that was baked into it for sure.
Yeah. Sal, injury report. Let's do that. The Barnes Firm injury report brought to you by the Barnes Firm. For injured, for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. They went into this game with significant injuries. Were there any picked up along the way?
Joey Bosa has a hamstring injury.
Okay.
I don't know the severity. He went into the tent for a while. He came out, and when he came out, he went right over to Ryan Nielsen, his defensive line coach, without his helmet. He wasn't going to go back in. It was late in the game. The Bills had the game in hand. I was told he's questionable to return. And Bosa didn't I don't know what you want to read into it. I didn't think Kincaid's hamstring was all that bad at first when I watched him, and it turns out obviously he's missed some games. So I don't want to necessarily make that projection, but I would say he didn't do anything with his legs or medically after. He just went kind of over to where the D line was and was going over D line stuff, but he was questionable to return, and he was talking with trainers. He was pointing to the back of his leg a little bit, so we'll see. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but you guys know how they treat hamstring injuries, and especially older players and veterans and playing the long game. You're getting closer to the playoffs here, so we'll see where this goes. That was the only one. It stinks. Joey Bosa played a nice game, had the forced fumble, obviously. It's good there was only one, but it could be a significant one.
How thin are they if he's going to miss time? Ooh. They're already only dressing 4 right at that position.
Yeah, I wonder if Morgan Fox gets a look then next week, Joe. He is still on the practice squad. Shaq Lawson is now on the practice squad. These guys are not Joey Bosa, but Morgan Fox would offer you more of a pass rusher ability. And that once again, TJ Sanders had to go out and play defensive end in this game, and he was out there. So they're pretty thin there. So we'll see. But hopefully it's nothing too serious. But that was the only one that came out of this game. And, from the Steelers side, obviously they had a few. Patrick Queen left the game. Pierre left the game, concussion evaluation. And then obviously the big one was Aaron Rodgers. He had the bloody nose. And then I think maybe even the wrist was bothering him. I'm not really sure. I didn't check in on that after the game, but, he came back out again
also,
later.
I don't know if I saw what became of this, but on one of the last – was it even the last Bills offensive play that T.J. Watt had a knee injury and he slammed his helmet? I don't know if that was
I did not see that.
That was on the Steelers sideline. I don't know if he actually – there might have been no report, though, because it was so late in the game. So he might be someone to watch.
Good question.
Too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question. I really don't know. I didn't see that, so
We'll see.
have to check on that for sure. But unless we hear something different, and sometimes things do happen, afterwards. Now during the game, like I did see David Edwards. He was banged up a bit, but he went back in and played. And I'm trying to think. There was someone else maybe that happened to, but that happens a lot during the game. But nobody officially on the field that we had any. James Cook. So James Cook fumbles. Then he goes to the sidelines, and he was really working on his hand. I was concerned, like, is James Cook going to go back in this game? But we never got anything. He went back in the game, obviously, and he had a great game. So just to be aware of that going forward.
Yeah. At one point on the broadcast, they said like they thought maybe he had a helmet issue at some point. I don't know about that either. So
he did. That was
Okay.
separately. He did.
Gotcha.
He did.
Separate.
He came off the field with an equipment issue separately before that happened.
Okay, very good. Sal, thank you. We'll be talking Cincinnati. One quick question for you, though. You know the scheduling stuff. We had somebody ask, could Bills Patriots get flexed? And I think the answer to that I've heard now is no, because the network is guaranteed one matchup in the division if they want that, right? And since the previous Bills Patriots game was on NBC, CBS gets this game if they want to keep it. Is that correct?
Okay, first of all, you're the probably 458th person to ask me this.
Okay, good.
Okay, so it's okay.
Which means you
Getting texts
have the
about it
answer.
last night.
It means I count
Yes.
on you to have the answer.
Yeah, I get texts about this last night. To your specific question, I don't know lockdown for sure, but yes, I do know there is some provision about each network having an opportunity in division games. So that's probably it. That said, they could decide not to protect it if that's the case, or whatever. It's a 1:00 game. But here's why I think it's not happening. In my opinion, I don't know of any time other than Week 18, which is a separate deal, a game got flexed into prime time that was already a prime time matchup that year. Like
Right.
the league doesn't do that. Like I can't think of one. Maybe along the way someone could say, "Oh no, that happened," but they already played prime time this year. So I don't know. Secondly, the Patriots are on Monday night tonight.
Right.
They're going to put them back on Monday night in 2 weeks. I mean, like
or Sunday.
Because
And if you're looking at
are we talking Sunday or Monday? I mean, I don't know.
Well,
right? I thought it was a Monday night flex people are talking about, but maybe I'm wrong here. What's the Sunday night?
the
game
Sunday
that
is the
week?
Cowboys, so that's very unlikely to move.
Yeah, very unlikely.
The Monday is Dolphins Steelers, and even moving it to 425. The 425 slate is amazing. And
Well, that's where I do wonder one thing, because if you do want to flex a game into that spot because you don't want Dolphins Steelers, guys, they have Chargers Chiefs, but that was already that primetime game earlier this year to start the season.
Packers Broncos, Lions Rams, Colts
Yes.
Seahawks. Like it's a
Yes.
great week.
I know we're late, by the way, too. But even though it is Dallas on Sunday night, because I've not thought about that game in a while because it's Dallas. Minnesota might be so unwatchable at this point
right.
that it doesn't matter the opponent. They've just got to get them off Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't ask Tracy last night in the sidelines, and a lot of times this time of year, she would say probably they don't even know till a week ahead of time. But sometimes I'll get a clue on if they're scheduled to do the game. And if they were scheduled to do Patriots-Bills, they would not flex it. You know what I mean? If that was already something CBS penciled in for their, national game at 1:00 or whatever you want to say. But by the way, it has to be done 12 days in advance, so you'd have to do it by like tomorrow at the latest. I just don't see it happening, but you never know, I guess.
Right. Thanks, Sal.
You got it.
He's got the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show coming up at 10 o'clock.